So I'm sorry about that. I'm really pleased to be here because I don't have a lot of learnings, but I have some reflections I need your help for. And I have brought this painting from Erik Johansson that shows a gentleman who's looking at the sky for the stars, and he's observing that it's dark and it's far away, so he brought a telescope to find the stars in the sky. And I'm wondering how he will discover that the stars are actually light drops in the ground instead. And the reason why I'm reflecting about this is because I read a recent survey about problem framing and how problem framing, the lack of problem framing in organizations costs money. And to give you an example of that, I will tell you about a Kata story in my organization. I work in Danish mental health care as an improvement consultant. And we have this team of secretaries, you can see there, and they didn't always be this joyful. Actually, when I met them the first time, they had a lot of sickness absence, 27%, and they had an employee satisfaction in red. So they were very unhappy about working, and it cost a lot of money, not just for our organization, but also to our patients and also for them as human beings and to their families. So we decided to do a Kata project, practicing Kata with them, trying to help them with their working environment. And in the end, they ended up with a sick absence of 0.6% and green employee satisfaction. So what happened? We, during this Kata project or practicing Kata, we framed the problem from being around sick absence and employee satisfaction to actually being a problem around being happy when you go to work. And among the secretaries, they switched focus from producing good quality, from producing efficient workflow to actually leaving work happy. So they framed their problem differently throughout practicing Kata. What happened when we asked them? Well, they said it was all about focusing on the community of the team instead of being two teams and not working together. It was about the community in one team. They also said it was about learning and to learn together. And then they said that it was about learning to talk together. So actually it showed that the problem was all about how to talk together in a way that we feel good about each other. That was what the Kata project or practicing Kata taught them. So the problem switched from sick absence and employee satisfaction to being a problem around talking together as a team. So back to the man, gentleman looking at the sky, and how can Kata help him find the stars as light drops in the gray zone. I think Kata can create a safe learning zone where he can frame his problem by including his own viewpoint. When experimenting and learning in Kata, there's an awareness of sufficient data and facts and assumptions when you stand on the learning edge. And it's possible actually with Kata and practicing Kata, it's possible to create a safe learning zone where he will be able to frame his problem by including his own viewpoint and find his own light drops in the gray zone. And that's what I think, but I'm really curious about how you see his learning zone and where you see his learning edge and how experimentation can help him find the light drops on the ground, find the stars.
And that was a question, I think, Vibeke.
Yes, it was a question.
So does anyone want, thanks first for putting that seed in our head about problem framing. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Anyone who has a comment on Vibeke's question? No? I think it was, I mean, your message, it takes reflecting so how do you frame the problems? And as you said, you can do it totally opposite and you get a total different energy and engagement.
Yes, and I can then elaborate a bit more about it. If you say that here he has a challenge finding the stars, looking for the stars in the sky, and he can observe it's dark and it's far away, and so his next step is to look a bit further. And therefore he brings the telescope and he looks through the telescope and he says, oh, it's cloudy.
Yeah.
And that's his solution and his learning. I better come back another day and wait for the clouds to clear. Then I'll be able to see the stars. Right. Or how do we help him by Kata, coaching Kata, help him include his own viewpoint in his learnings. So to burst his assumptions.
And then I would ask you, Vibeke, what's your idea?
And yeah, my idea was that when you use Kata, you need to be very specific about sufficient data and facts and your own assumptions. And I think it's really interesting what my brother writes about the prediction error and how we allow each other to make new discoveries in when using Kata. That learnings are not just measurements where things go as predicted, but we dare to challenge our own ideas and to discover new viewpoints.
Yeah.
And that was also what I wanted to show with my little example, that they thought, the secretaries thought, that it was all about developing good quality and that they couldn't develop good quality, or the others couldn't develop good quality, but they found out that it was about their own viewpoint of their workplace.
Yeah, and if they didn't, they probably never would have discovered, as you said, working together as a team.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they would have optimized their part probably more. Yeah.
Exactly. So instead of focusing on problem solving and solutions, we focused on problem framing, or that was what happened during practicing Kata.
Cool. Thanks a lot. A lot of, need some reflecting and practicing of this. Thanks a lot, Vibeke.